All right, everybody, welcome to Operation Entrepreneur Day 2. Operation Entrepreneur is Business Impact Northwest celebration of military-connected business owners during National Veterans Small Business Week, which is traditionally the first full week of November every year. I'm Steve Watts-Ulrich, the Program Director for the Region 10 Veterans Business Outreach Center, which provides business coaching and training for military-connected business owners in Alaska, Idaho, Oregon, and Washington. I'm a white male with short brown hair. I'm wearing glasses and a dark green polo shirt today. My background is I'm an Air Force veteran, a former business owner, and I just love working with my fellow veterans. Before I turn today's program over to our Master of Ceremonies, which will be Lexi Omstedts, I've got a message here from Marty Golden, the director of the Portland SBA District Office. So we'll hear from Marty now.
Thank you for joining us for what I hope will be a valuable and illuminating training session as we examine the small business resources available to you as a veteran to start, grow, or expand your business. My name is Marty Golden, and I'm the District Director for the Portland District Office of the U.S. Small Business Administration. I'm also a proud Navy veteran. I'm equally proud of the role the SBA has in supporting our veteran business community. I think most of us look back at our service in terms of moments. The moments we remember most vividly were the ones that truly mattered. And I hope this week will be one of those moments that matter to you as a small business person. As former service members, I'm sure you can remember the very first time you were introduced to your drill instructor. Believe me, it's a moment that mattered in my immediate future back then, and I'm sure it was the same for you. Or maybe the first time you raised your hand to swear an oath to support and defend the Constitution. Or the first time you walked across the parade field after completing your initial training. These were all moments that matter when it came time to commit to serve our country in uniform. The same holds true when it comes to veteran entrepreneurship. Whether it's ringing in your first sale, turning the "We're Open" sign for the first time, or securing your first government contract. These pivotal moments, no matter how big or small, are moments that matter on a veteran's entrepreneurial journey. They represent growth, employment, service, and freedom. Almost everyone attending Operation Entrepreneur this week is involved with or thinking about leveraging a new idea, a new service, a new product, or maybe even reinventing an old one. The SBA Portland District Office can provide you the opportunity to acquire the tools to help you grow and build your capacity as a small business owner. As we all know, everything we did when we served in uniform, we did as part of a team. I want everyone here today to know that you're not alone, that the SBA and its partners stand with you each step of the way. And that's why we formed the SBA Resource Partner Network, which includes SCORE, which is a group of dedicated entrepreneurs and business executives who volunteer their time to mentor and counsel entrepreneurs. The Small Business Development Center Network, that provides a vast array of technical assistance to include no-cost one-on-one long-term professional business advising, low-cost training, and other specialized services. The Women's Business Center, which represents a national network of over 100 educational centers throughout the United States designed to assist women in starting and growing small businesses. And of course, the Veterans Business Outreach Centers, which is a one-stop shop for transitioning service members, veterans, and military spouses looking to start, purchase, or grow a business. When you're ready to set up shop, add a new location, go international, access federal contracts, or secure capital, we have your back through every stage of your journey. I want you to know that if there's one thing to take back from this week's training opportunities, we hope it is that you know you have a team of dedicated professionals to support you. It's truly an honor for us to serve those who have sacrificed so much in defense of our country. Thank you.
All right, that's wonderful. Great words of support for our military connected business owners from Marty Golden. Now we're going to hear from Joe Sky Tucker, Business Impact Northwest Executive Director, who has some words of support for us as well. Take it away, Joe.
Thank you, Steve. Thanks, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of Operation Entrepreneur. I'm super excited to welcome you all in. I want to thank all of our service members for their service. This is just a different kind of service. It's a way that we're owning a small businesses, and so we're really excited to work with you all. Super excited as well to let you get to know a couple of our other staff members, Lexi and Amber, who are going to be holding your hand through a lot of this today. So just have fun. Hopefully you learn a lot and make your business stronger. And again, thank you all for your service. We couldn't be more proud to host the Veterans Business Outreach Center for Region 10 here at Business Impact Northwest. All right, back to you, Steve, and your amazing leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. We appreciate those words of support. All right, so today's Master of Ceremonies is Lexi Amstutz. Lexi is a business owner, a business coach, and a Boots to Business instructor for the Region 10 Veterans Business Outreach Center. Lexi teaches and counsels military-connected small business owners in the Fairbanks, Alaska area. So I am now going to turn this presentation over to Lexi, who's in turn going to introduce our keynote speaker today, which is Amber Bittner.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me? Yes. Good, good, good.
Yes.
Having issues earlier. So nice to virtually meet all of you. Hopefully we can do these kinds of things in person in the future. That's the hope for everything. So yes, I have been an entrepreneur since I was a little girl. I used to muck around in a creek and fish out golf balls, clean them, and then sell them in egg cartons back to the guys that just hit them in the day before with a side of lemonade when I was 9 years old. So it's just been in me ever since. Probably I have memories. So I love getting to live vicariously through all of my clients and teaching you guys and giving back for all that you've given us is just an honor. So in any case, I get to now introduce you to Amber Bittner. She is a military spouse. She has run her own businesses. She is an accredited business coach and also a Boots to Business instructor for our Region X with Vboc. And she is going to give our keynote speech today on business portability and e-commerce. So Amber, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Lexi. As with many military spouses out there, my career has been all over the place. Currently, the experience that I bring to the table is 15 years of large box general retail management, where I oversaw 22 different stores. I have 7 years in accounting and finance, to include 5 years within small business banking. And then before I did what I said I would never do and married a service member just like my father, I actually owned and operated a very successful business to where I was profitable within year 1. But one thing within the military community, and while it is near and dear to my heart, we want to talk a little bit today about entrepreneurship as a solution to career portability problems for military spouses. Currently, there is a 25% unemployment rate for military spouses, which is about 10% higher than their civilian counterparts. According to a 2021 report on employment stability prepared for the National Military Spouse Network, 60% of spouses are currently looking for work because their family needs 2 incomes for stability. And there are several significant barriers to employment, from the day-to-day job demands of the service members' deployments, their schedules, as well as just the day-to-day job demands and everything else that they have to do. They find it very difficult to receive a job. 44% of military spouses, they report that child care is needed in order to work, or that the child care that was needed in order to work is way too expensive. So for those who are able to attend the workforce, what they end up facing is that job seekers, employers, they don't tend to want to hire military spouses because they want somebody who is stable, who is dependable. So many will not hire a military spouse due to the likelihood of losing that hire when their active duties have to move, when we have to PCS to another duty station. Self-employment provides opportunities for folks to start businesses, and it is a great solution to some of these problems because these businesses, they can actually be portable and they can be run from everywhere. These businesses, they can be home-based. And with the home-based businesses, there are many businesses out there that are run from home. Whether you're working gigs as an independent contractor, if you're doing 1099 work, that is a small business, to running online e-commerce stores. That is also a type of portable business. They can be run from a home office. These businesses, they can be run anywhere that there is an internet connection. So what do we need to know about running a home-based business? What is the special thing that we need to know there? Many home-based businesses many home-based business operators wonder if they are legitimate enough to need a business plan, and they wonder what the point of writing one would be. You know, it's when you think about it in the long run of things, and you think about the entire, you know, just business environment, yes, it seems super easy. Let's just go set up a laptop on a desk, connect to the internet, we're in business, right? But setting up the laptop, it's only part of what you would need to undertake. A business plan, it is a guide. It is a plan from point A to point B to starting and actually running your business. So you will need a business plan. And as you prepare your plan, you're going to engage in research to ensure that there is a market for your products and services, and will help you put together well-researched financial projections. You'll need a business plan and financial projections, not only to know if your business is feasible and sustainable, but also if you ever plan on seeking funding for within your business. And in all honesty, it just makes sense, because if you are running your business without a business plan and something happens like COVID, right, you might need finances. Are you going to stop running your business that you've had for about a year now just to go back from that very first step and write a business plan? It takes away from what you're doing. So do it at the very beginning. Whether you're starting any business venture, that's just honestly good advice. But as you write your business plan, you're going to conduct research on the equipment that you're going to need to start your business, work to set the price points for your products or your services, determine what your cost of goods sold will be, and you will be able to establish reasonable assumptions as to your sales volume based on your market research. Your business financial projections let you know when your business will break even and when you will show a profit. On this note, you will want to separate your business and personal financials so you can keep a track of your business expenses separately to know if your business is remaining feasible and sustainable. And you do that by obtaining a separate business bank account. You want to keep all of your personal finances completely separate from your business finances. It makes things easier in the case of an audit, and your accountant will love you, okay? So that's one of the reasons why that's very, very important. And depending on legal entity, it's also sometimes legally required that you have that separate business bank account. But speaking of legal matters, what we want to talk about are some of the legal entities for business, right? And one big pitfall for home-based businesses is neglecting to register their business as a legal entity. A lot of these businesses are run as sole proprietorships. Establishing your business as a legal entity is required before you take any funds from customers. So you have to do that with your Secretary of State. And there are benefits in registering your entity. We're going to chat about two of the more common entities here, but there are others that you can learn about from your business coach as well as from your attorney. You're always going to want a good bail team. Bail, it stands for banker, accountant, insurance agent, and lawyer. Make sure you have that within your net of advisors that you can actually reach out to. But first, what we want to talk a little bit about is sole proprietorships. And when we talk about sole proprietorships, they are the easiest and least expensive to set up. And in many jurisdictions, this is the default position if an enforcement entity catches you running without a license. So this is what you will always default back to. But with a sole proprietorship, the owner controls the business. And there are some tax breaks you can chat with your accountant about. very, very easy to dissolve. So what we see is that these are very, very common forms of startup business. However, one of the biggest downsides for your sole proprietorships is that there is no distinction between you and your business. These are known as DBA business, and DBA means doing business as yourself. There's no separation between you and your actual business. So being that there's no separation, there's no distinction between the owner's personal assets and the business assets. And in the event that something goes wrong, which things in business go wrong all of the time, the owner could potentially lose everything, both within their business and within their personal assets, their personal lives. So make sure that you know the differences between the legal entities that you choose before you want to actually get into business. So this is going to bring us to our limited liability companies. Now, these are also very, very common forms for startup businesses. And they're very easy and inexpensive to register, just like the sole proprietorship. But the difference is here, the members, they control the business and there is a limited liability for the members. So you start to get a separation between yourself and your business. It is imperative that the members of an LLC open a business bank account as soon as they register the entity. And as state laws do differ from state to state, it is actually legally required in some states that LLCs have a separate business bank account. So make sure that you research and you talk with your lawyer about the state laws. But from that day forward, those members, they must never intermingle funds. So once you have that separate business bank account, you keep that separate business bank account. So you never pay personal bills out of your business bank account and vice versa. Some of the disadvantages of an LLC are potential disparities in regulations across jurisdictions, and there are self-employment taxes that factor in. An attorney can help you navigate the laws and regulations within your state, while your tax professional should be able to discuss the specific tax implications of running an LLC. So now that we know to write a business plan, and we know that we want to develop our financial projections and establish the business as a legal entity, it's also good to know more about the types of portable businesses. And when we say portable, we mean a business that can be run from anywhere in the USA. It doesn't matter where you are, so long as the owner has access to the tools that they need to run a business, okay? And most commonly, even with e-commerce, that can be a laptop, right? And internet connection. But we also want to talk a little bit about the gig economy and what the gig economy is. It's becoming more common for folks to work gigs and not work 20 years or more for the same company. Gigs are generally short-term, limited scope of duties, and payment for the gig worker is reported to the IRS on a Form 1099. To give you an example of this, maybe a company, say you're an artist, maybe a company actually wants to hire you to draw a cartoon. You do that work for a temporary period of time. Once the work is done, that company actually pays you what you're owed, and then you can move on to the next job or move on to the next gig. Uber and Lyft drivers also fall under workers within the gig economy. But if you will be performing gigs, you do need to remember the following, okay? You are an independent contractor for whatever company that you are gigging for. So you are technically a small business. And going back to what we were saying, that is the type of entity that usually, if you do not register, defaults as that sole proprietorship. You do need to treat your independent contractor status as self-employment because you are self-employed at that point. This will help you with some of the tax implications that surround that topic. The company that you gig for will not be withholding any taxes. And this is very, very normal and usual. Typically, you will actually file your taxes on those self-employment tax forms that you file at the end of the year. You are responsible for paying those taxes, okay? So whatever that employer is not taking out because you are a 1099 contracted worker, those you will have to pay at the end of the year. Keeping track of your business finances separately from your personal finances will make tax reporting easier and will allow you to remain informed of your business's profitability. So those are things that you're going to need to keep a track record of, okay? So talking a little bit about home-based businesses, I apologize there, the slide did not want to click over. But home-based businesses are a very good option for folks who need to set up a business that can be run from anywhere. While not all home-based businesses are suited to move around, to give you an example of this, an adult living home, it's not necessarily a portable type of business. But on the other hand, spouses who run daycares can put one up fairly quickly at a duty station or in their own home. They can also do gig work, and some e-commerce businesses are suited being run from home office. So really think about what you're doing as you're determining, is this business portable? Other examples of a good portable business or a home-based business, you have online tutoring services, accounting and financial services, and home transcription services for the medical and legal fields. There are also some differences between running a home-based business on base and running a home-based business off base. We're going to discuss a couple of those as well. But to run a business in a home that is located off of a military installation, so you're located off base, it does have a few less loopholes to navigate than if you were operating a business on base. So for an off-base business, you need to ensure that your location is zoned for the business that you will run. Especially if you have that brick and mortar establishment, you want to make sure that that land is actually zoned, and that any local regulations. So if you're running a home-based business, if you have HOA or your homeowners association dues, you want to make sure that it's okay to actually run a home-based business, check some of the legal statuses around that. But you do not want those to prohibit running your business. So you want to make sure that they don't have any types of fine print or specifications on whether or not you can run that home-based business. If your location permits the business activity, then you need to register your business with the state and any other local entities. So for example, the city or the Department of Revenue, you're going to want to actually register your business with as well. You want to open up the business bank account as well. So if you were doing a home-based business off base, pretty much all same state rules apply to that business, okay? When we are actually trying to operate a business on a military installation, if you intend to run your businesses in military housing, you will likely still have to obtain your state and your city license. So that will apply to you as well. But you definitely want to have the separate business bank account. You also will have to register your business with the installation housing office, and you're going to have to get installation through the installation commander. If you visit your local JAG office, they should be able to give you more information about that and how you can actually contact that and go through those channels within their administrative law office. But part of the approval process includes following your APHES and your MWR in the right of refusal. Typically, if your business competes with the APHES or the MWR, you will most likely not be able or not allowed to run your business on base. So make sure that you know what you're doing. You're going to have to actually write and generalize your idea down to really explain what you're trying to do so they can make sure that you're not competing with APHES or the MWR on post. So if you move to a different military installation, that's another issue that we constantly face as well, right? We never know when we're going to PCS. We're constantly traveling and moving around, usually every 2 to 3 years. Sometimes it's only a year that you might be at a duty station. But if you have your home-based business on an installation and your spouse gets orders to PCS to another installation, well, how can I make this business portable? You're going to need to take a few steps to move your business to the new location. However, it is completely movable and portable typically, but you have to deregister your business at the duty station that you are leaving. So for instance, if you're running a business in Washington State and say you get orders to go to Georgia, you're going to deregister with Georgia, and then you're going to you're going to register with the installation that you will be arriving at. So if you're arriving to Georgia, now you register your business in Georgia and you can continue to do business. This involves the same steps from the previous slide. You might also have to dissolve or deregister your business in the state that you are leaving. Okay, so keep that in mind as you're considering moving your business. You might also have the option to register your business in the new state without forming an entirely new legal entity. So this is where it's going to be also important to get that bail team set up, talk to your lawyers, see what the laws are that are surrounding that, So you know what paperwork that you actually have to file in order to move that business. But a business law attorney, they can give you the best guidance on that. So let them know what's going on. Talk with your lawyer, talk with your advisor. They can help you with paperwork. They can help you get set up. Okay. And what we want to talk about a little bit today as well, AAFES currently has a program for veteran and military spouse-owned businesses to be verified as vendors. And this is a huge thing that is actually coming to fruition here soon nationwide. But this process, it will allow those with government purchase cards to purchase products and services from validated veteran and military spouse businesses. The products and services can be anything purchased by one over the 2.5 million GPC holders across the world are seeking through the AAFES Exchange Business Delivery Marketplace. And you can get more information on this program from your business coach at the Vboc or through training that is specifically provided by the Rosie Network. So make sure that you are tapping into the SBA resource partners and getting all of those great resources out there, because this is a great opportunity for your business to actually be featured and to be sold to other veterans through AAFES. So you don't have to be, when we talk about e-commerce and when we talk about e-commerce steps, you don't have to be Amazon or Walmart to have a successful e-commerce business. Whether you are selling products or providing a service, you can run your e-commerce platform from your home through whatever software that you have deemed to be the best for your business. E-commerce businesses, they offer great flexibility, affordability, and opportunity for entrepreneurs. So what steps do you need to take in order to start your own e-commerce business? Just like with any other business, you want to evaluate whether your potential e-commerce business will be feasible and sustainable. So you're going to want to do those financial projections. To do this, you will do your market research, your industry and competitor analysis, and prepare well-researched, reasonable financial projections. Once you prove that there's a market and that the business will be feasible and sustainable, the next steps are to set up your actual business. Business setup will generally involve regulatory setup and your own logistical setup. For the regulatory portion, you will need to get an applicable business license, register your legal entity in the jurisdictions you will make sales and have to pay taxes, and ensure your e-commerce platform complies with current accessibility laws. For the logistical portion, you will need to set up a business operating account at a bank so you can process customer payments and pay any business-related bills separately from your personal account. You will also need to find a good e-commerce platform to use. And there are several to choose from, okay? Make sure when you're choosing these, you are also reading the fine print to see if there are any types of fees or anything like that that are associated with them. But to give you some examples, there's Shopify, there's currently Wix and Weebly. You can research and choose the best options for your business needs. You also need to have a good fulfillment service. If your fulfillment process is not smooth, your online success could crumble. E-commerce fulfillment is the part of your operation that delivers your products to customers. Getting product to the fulfillment center shelves is a part of this, as is order picking and packing. As you start out, your fulfillment center may be in your garage, at your kitchen table, or in your basement. Even so, this is your fulfillment center. You can outsource your fulfillment, and some businesses, it makes the most sense to do so. Third-party centers have great processes for order picking, packing, and shipping. The advantages can be easier to expand your products, and there's no need for you to take up your own space or to lease a space, and your time is freed up to work on your own business development. 45 states and Washington, D.C. all have a sales tax, okay? Online retailers may find themselves navigating quite different sales tax laws. This is where it's also going to be good to advise to seek the advice of a qualified lawyer to really find out the specific state laws that surround your business. But the trick is to know when you have to charge and when you have to pay sales tax. The basic rule for collecting sales tax from customers is twofold, okay? And twofold being that one, your business has a sales tax nexus in the same state as your customer, and two, the product is taxable in that state, okay? And sales tax nexus is a fancy way of saying that your business has a significant connection to the state in question. You will always have a nexus in your business's home state, okay? So wherever you're drawing revenue from. But some ways to have an additional nexus in other states are a location like an office or a warehouse, store, or other physical presence. If you have personnel within that state, like an employee, a contractor, a salesperson, an installer doing work for your business, inventory, some states consider storing inventory in their jurisdiction and nexus. Once again, that differs upon state to state. But selling at a trade show or an event, some states do consider that as a sufficient nexus, even if you're only selling there temporarily. But there's a great list of sales tax nexus conditions for each state at your www.bigcommerce.com/blog/ecommerce-sales-tax/undefined, which the QR code currently is on the screen. So is that URL at the bottom, but you can definitely take a picture of that, follow that, and find out some more information. So going into product taxability, the majority of tangible personal property, so your clothing and your appliances, is taxable, okay? Some services are also taxable in some jurisdictions. You have to be aware of which states charge tax and what products and services you sell are subject to sales tax. So once again, make sure you're talking to your accountant. Your accountant will definitely be able to tell you what taxes have to be paid within your state. But for example, if you sell clothing in Pennsylvania, you don't have to collect sales tax. But if you're selling grocery items in a place like Illinois, you must collect a reduced sales tax. And as of 2018, that was 1%. Okay, so make sure that you're aware of the tax laws that surround what you're doing as well. Apologize for that. I'm trying to figure out what happened there for a moment. Okay. So how do we charge tax, right? Fortunately, once you register for a sales tax permit in any jurisdiction, you're going to be making taxable sales. You can set up your e-commerce platform to collect the applicable sales tax online for each jurisdiction in which you're operating your business in. Some platforms do provide a better service than others. And if you will be having a taxable sales, or if you'll be having taxable sales in a state that has different tax rates depending on county, city, etc., you want a platform that lets you set up multiple rates based on zip code and or the city of the purchaser, okay? In the event you have obtained tax certificates in multiple jurisdictions, it is important to file your business tax returns on time and accurately. If you have zero sales in one or more of your jurisdictions, it is advisable to file a tax return that indicates zero sales for the reporting period. Some jurisdictions will fine you if you do not timely file, even if you had zero taxable sales, okay? So make sure, like I said, get with your accountant, make sure you get that good, strong bail team, and you are talking to the people that you need to talk to there. But in conclusion, okay, our business portability and e-commerce conclusion, as stated in the beginning of this presentation, military spouses are significantly unemployed or underemployed, okay? And this is more than their civilian counterparts. And this is a problem that can be solved through entrepreneurship, because this is a way that you can actually work for yourself. You can actually earn that secondary income. You can make your business as portable as you need it to be. But military spouses, they can set up businesses that can be from anywhere in the world, from a home-based daycare on a military installation to an online financial advising business that's run from an apartment off base, okay? Military spouses, they can run e-commerce businesses that sell products online because there are many, many, many options out there. Military spouses can be independent contractors and work gigs from their own homes. These are some potential solutions for our under or unemployed military spouses. And if you are interested in finding some gig work, you can visit www.veterangig.com to find potential gigs and platforms that you may be interested in. Currently, if you are interested in that gig work, you can actually follow this veterangig.com and follow this QR code on the screen. It will lead you right there to that website. Lexi, I will give it back to you.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Well, thank you, Amber, so much for that very thorough and informative presentation about getting set up with a transportable business in e-commerce. And now we're going to shift gears, and I see that some of you have already been posting your questions in the Q&A box, and we're going to open up to address those. So please feel free to continue to post your questions in that box, and we'll do our best to answer as many questions as possible live. But then we will be sure to send out a follow-up email with any remaining questions along with the answers next week.
So thank you, Lexi. I'll pop in here and I will just start with the questions. If you happen to post your question in the chat box, if you wouldn't mind just copy and paste it over here to the Q&A box, that would be very helpful. I'm old school. I can't track the chat very well, and I apologize for that. So I'll start with the questions, and let's see. First one is, for sole proprietor, would business insurance offer similar protection as an LLC to protect the person from losing the assets? What type of insurance would you advise? This is a really great question, and I think this is one you would want to definitely talk to your insurance broker about to determine basically what type of protection you currently have on your home or rent apartment, whatever your situation is, to see what protections you may have already in place, and then see what insurance may assist in protecting you and your assets. But generally, it's not going to be as sufficient as being an LLC. You've got to just look at what exposure you have to risk. And that's great to talk to also an attorney about, seeing what kind of risk you might have. So with that one, I'll move to the next question. Say you registered an LLC running only e-commerce in one state, but you're currently in another state. Should you move the business or register as a foreign entity in the new state if you're unsure how long you'll be there? What if you don't have a home in the new state? So would it give problems for having a bank account if you move the business? Okay, so I will start off with the short, unfortunate answer is you really need to check with your tax professional regarding registering as a foreign entity in the new state, because as we talked on the slides a little bit about that sufficient nexus, you're going to want to look and see what that state considers, or that jurisdiction considers to be a sufficient nexus for you to charge sales tax and thus register your business in that state. And let's see.
Steve, if I can add one thing to that as well, some states also have revenue caps, which means that in the event that you don't make over a certain threshold of revenue within the state, you may or may not need to actually register with them. So going back to what Steve said, that is also, it's a great question. Make sure that you know the laws that are surrounding what you're trying to do. Also, make sure that you're talking to your advisors, your banker, your accountant, your insurance agent, and your lawyer. And, you know, attend the Grow with the Pro coffee chats, because every Tuesday morning, we literally have a banker, an accountant, an insurance agent, and a lawyer from week to week that you can actually ask some of these questions to or connect with if you don't have an individual that you can talk to.
Thank you, Amber. All right, for the next part of this, if you don't have a home in the new state, would it give problems for having a bank account if you move the business as banks? No, banks should be okay using your apartment address. I would just caution using your personal or apartment address, for example, as your business address. for public information, you would probably want to get, and this is a really good point, to get a registered agent who will accept your business documentation. And that way a potential client or somebody, people get upset all the time about different things for different reasons. You wouldn't want that person to be able to access your home address and come to your home. But as far as the banks are concerned, as long as it's a valid mailing address, I would imagine that it's okay if it's an apartment address. Are there other questions? Well, I will take that as a sign that Amber did an awesome job with the presentation. For those of you who happen to think of any questions post this session today, you feel free to contact us at Business Impact Northwest, and we'll try to get answers for you. So with that, I will hand it back to Lexi.
Yeah, wonderful. So let's just take a short 10-minute break. And then when we return, we will be hearing from our two spotlighted businesses of the day. So at about 11, or sorry, you guys are what, 12:21.
Yep. All right, 12:21 it is. Thank you. See everybody back here at 12:21.
Okay, we are back from our break. And give me just a second, making sure everybody's here. So our two spotlight businesses and panelists today are Ponte Travels and the Rosie Network. First, we will hear from Ponte Travels, which is a boutique travel company offering life-enhancing trips to many of the world's most fascinating places. In Mary Stange's own words, she said, quote, "I'm grateful for this opportunity to be considered among other exceptional businesses. I feel that veteran business owners have a unique skill set and determination to make their business succeed. As a travel company that faced the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, I've had to employ many of those skills learned while in active service." So Mary, please take a minute or two to tell us about you and your business. Welcome.
Hello, is everything on? Okay, great. Well, hi, my name is Mary Stange. As Lexi mentioned, I own and operate Ponte Travels. We are a boutique tour operator. We specialize in creating custom itineraries for individuals, couples, families, small groups, such like that. We operate worldwide. So right now we have developed itineraries for over 25 countries, and that's always growing. I like to specialize in travel experiences that are off the beaten path and that are really immersive into the culture that you're traveling into. As far as my background goes, I'm a Navy veteran. I was an NFO in the EA-6B Prowler stationed out of Whidbey Island, Washington. So I have Northwest roots. However, I separated in 2015 when my husband was offered a position in the State Department's Foreign Service. And so what that means is that, rather than going from base to base as a military spouse will, we go from embassy to embassy around the world. So we are currently in our third overseas posting. I'm in Cyprus, Nicosia, Cyprus right now. So I'm actually able to operate my business from my home office here in Cyprus.
That's great. Thank you, Mary. And now we will hear from Cathy Murphy on behalf of the Rosie Network. The Rosie Network's mission is to build stronger military families by developing entrepreneurial programs and support services that empower active duty veterans and military spouses to realize the American dream of small business ownership, increasing financial stability, and self-sufficiency of those who have served our country. Cathy and her husband are both entrepreneurs that sold everything, bought an RV, and now travel around the US while running 3 successful businesses. The ultimate example in running a portable business. Cathy is the owner of a virtual franchise with the Juice Plus company. She's also the founder of Healthy Living Navigator, a caregiver wellness program, and it's her mission to educate, inspire, and empower caregivers of wounded warriors in a connected, supportive environment and community. Cathy is an Air Force spouse of over 32 years. She and her husband, Rick, have 2 children. Their daughter, Madeline, is 21 and a student attending Virginia Commonwealth University, VCU, in Richmond, Virginia. And their son, Matthew, is 18, a 2020 graduate of Forest Park High School in Woodbridge, Virginia, as well, with plans to attend Texas State University in the fall. Cathy enjoys traveling with her husband in their RV, Peloton workouts, and growing Tower Garden produce. Welcome, Cathy.
Hello, everybody. Can you see me? Okay, awesome. I am so honored to be a part of this. Thank you so much for the introduction. And I really am excited about sharing my story, especially because I've had an opportunity to be a part of the Rosie network and then come in on board to be a part of their leadership team. So I will tell you a little bit of my story and leading into going into Rosie network. I actually accidentally fell into a business about 9 years ago. My background is actually nursing. I was a labor and delivery nurse before I had children. And then as a military spouse, had to give up that work when my husband got an assignment right after we had our baby. So I was not working for about 14 years, raising family, supporting my husband, traveling, moving across the country and the world. And we had a sick kid about 9 years ago, and he was struggling with allergy and asthma. And I was introduced to a company that really focused on wellness and whole food nutrition. And I really learned a lot about that and discovered that I really needed to impact healthcare with that. So I joined this community and became a partner with the company. Then several years into this, I realized I really wanted to start health coaching and have more of a startup business. And someone introduced me to the Rosie Network that helped me walk through an 8-week program, learning about a lot of the things that Amber shared with us today. And I could relate so much to what she had talked about in terms of gig economy and home-based businesses and all of the things, because I do run both a home-based kind of business doing health coaching from my computer. Basically, I can actually do it anywhere in the country because we are now full-time RVing across the country. We sold everything in Virginia and moved all the way across down into Florida and across into California and the great Northwest. And right now I'm sitting at the Air Force Academy library because our campground doesn't have good service. So luckily the Air Force Academy library has service for me. So I'm able to do my business very portably all across the country. And I'm really happy to be a part of this conversation today.
That's great. Thank you so much, both of you. So now we are going to turn to our panel discussion. I'm going to ask some questions of our two spotlighted businesses and hear what they each have to say. All right, so number one, we will start with Mary. What is your favorite part of being a small business owner?
I feel like that's a real gimme question because, you know, I love running the show. I love the fact that I can choose our destinations. I can choose, you know, the tempo of what we're doing, the focus of what we're doing. You know, essentially like the messaging is all coming from my heart rather than having to really check in with somebody else or their feelings or their direction. So I do like having my own schedule and making my own plans and setting my own trajectory for the company. And as well as my relationship with my clients. You know, it's all wrapped up into one little package that I'm the one managing that.
That's awesome. Thank you, Mary. Now you are up, Cathy. What is your favorite part of being a small business owner?
Well, I think I can second what Mary just shared. Having the freedom to create my own schedule is probably number one. Being able to run my business from anywhere in the country. I've actually done calls and done some coaching from the top of a mountain at a ski lodge. I've been in Napa doing work in between bike riding and just having that flexibility of movement. But also being able to create community around the things that I'm passionate about and helping people in, you know, creating healthy habits with my own flair, I think has been really some of my favorite things.
I love that both of you couldn't just say your favorite parts. There are multiple parts, right? It's so hard to just pick one. And I love that because it's almost an impossible question to answer to just pick one because there are so many great things. Okay, now we're going to start. Let's start with Cathy this time. We'll switch it up a little bit. The next question is, what are the pros and cons you have experienced in having an online or portable business?
Yeah, that is a great question, especially because I have two parts to my business. One, I'm partnered with a franchise, and I'll start with pros and cons. Just a couple of pros and cons for that is I have the support of a company with all of the digital assets and marketing, and basically my job is just to share and educate around health and wellness. And I mean, the only cons to that is that there is some stigma and prejudice, I think, against companies, when you're working with a company like that, which is network marketing or multi-level marketing or whatever people like to call it. But what I have found in the 9 years that I've worked with this company is that if you are with the right company and you really have a lot of faith in what you're offering people and you're surrounded by a supportive community and mentors, I mean, that is the part of my business that kind of feeds into what I get to do as a more traditional small business in terms of health coaching, because that's solely like a sole proprietor type business that I'm creating around that. But it's years of investing to learn how to be a health coach. Then I have to figure out the marketing around that and figure out how to get out there and get customers. And, no, I don't have a company helping me do that. And so those are kind of the pros and cons that I've discovered working two types of kind of different businesses.
I can completely understand that. Thank you, Cathy. All right, Mary, you are up. Pros and cons that you've experienced in having an online and portable business.
Right. So I think, one of the biggest pros is that this really can be done from anywhere. I know that, I can speak to being a service spouse and needing to have that portability and that career progression to have something to grow as you move from place to place every 2 to 3 years. And so that was really what we were looking for when we began this journey. So, I could do it from Cyprus, I could do it from Colombia, I could do it from wherever we move next around the world. I guess the con side of that is that it's really hard to build a community that way. I feel like, my travel business is really community focused. And so being able to be, say, in a physical community where you have bookstores and yoga studios and rec centers and places where you can go and meet people is a real advantage. And that's something that I don't have with my lifestyle. But I guess, another pro, I think that, at least on the business side of things, is that having an online business, it really minimizes your overhead costs. Especially when you're working from home, or you may be the only one, or, just maybe one other contractor employee, you don't have these large overhead costs that you have to maintain with equipment and leases and et cetera. And I think the last pro that I want to highlight, especially for my personal business in the travel industry, is that my lifestyle really fuels my trajectory. Being able to go from place to place to place and say, okay, well, now we're in this country, but we're right next to that country, and that's something that I can develop and kind of it propelled me to discover new places that I may not have seen before. But it really helps me build in that way. And then I guess another con to kind of mention, to reiterate what Cathy said, was, you are on your own. You don't really have anybody to fall back on. So all of the marketing, all of the emails, all of the growth, it has to come from within. So I guess as a single business owner, that is a bit of a con. But you have wonderful networks like this that can help with that.
I love it. Yeah, you guys you take one hat off and put another hat on and keep doing that whenever it's necessary. But I love the imagery of Cathy, you sitting at the top of a mountain, still doing your business. And Mary, I mean, anywhere all over the world. I mean, that is a benefit. And like you said, and I think it's congruent with having a portable e-commerce business, but also just what we're all experiencing with COVID is still trying to maintain that community somehow, right? In this virtual environment. So those were great insights. Thank you. Okay, we'll switch it up again and go back to Mary for our third question. So how do you think your military experience has been an advantage for you as a business owner?
Well, I 100% think that my ability to switch into crisis mode when it needs to be has definitely been an advantage. You know, especially considering my background in aviation, you know, that's something you got to be able to turn on right away. And so knowing when a problem is arising, knowing how to prioritize that and whom to talk to first, I think is always a very good skill learned. And then on the South side of things, you know, we move all the time. Everybody knows that. And being able to kind of recreate a network wherever you go is a wonderful skill to have. You know, being able to pick up and make new friends on a whim and find new people, new network. I think is something that we can all share. So.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Thank you for sharing that. All right, Cathy, you are up. So how has your military experience been an advantage for you in business ownership?
Oh goodness. So as a military spouse for over 30 years, I am grateful for the opportunity, as Mary, you know, shared, for just having the community, and feel like I grew up in a community that was really supportive and gave me opportunities to learn about leadership, as well as my husband was in for 30 years, moving through, you know, opportunities to serve spouses and families, and being a nurse in labor and delivery, like that was a kind of my thing, to work with, you know, women and children. And so moving right into my businesses, I that is my focus still. And I think, you know, just really learning how to be flexible, and, you know, as Mary said, crisis management was something that we just learned to do, and find the positives in all of the things. So all of that I brought back into my business as well. And I think the other thing I love about my military experience, or being a military spouse, is that I have a community that go back 30 years, and many of them are part of my business now. They are part of my team. I get to work with them on a daily basis, and you know, I really cherish those relationships.
That's great. Yeah, that makes sense. Having that, it's just neat to see how you had this one toolkit, this one skill set for one thing, and then how you're able to apply it today. That's very, very neat. Okay, let's move on to number 4, and we will start with you, Cathy. So what, if any, changes have you made to your business due to the pandemic?
Well, probably like many people, things had to go virtual. I was a very hands-on person. I was out in the community. Before we went RVing full time, I lived in DC and did a lot of work with the national organizations for caregivers. I worked at Port Belvoir and Walter Reed, you know, supporting caregivers and wounded warriors, and doing salad in a jar and wellness events, and, you know, really connecting with people, went face to face. And that all got shut down. And I had to figure out quickly how to do it virtually. And, you know, it's been a blessing. Thank God for the internet and Zoom. We were able to conduct cohorts and wellness groups through Zoom on a weekly basis. And actually, I think it gave us opportunities to almost be more connected in some ways. I know people get Zoom fatigue and all of those things, but the reality is, for some of my community, especially my caregiver community, they were already socially distancing, you know, because their lives were really focused on, you know, home and their families, and they weren't really getting out and connected. So getting them into a Zoom to connect and meet other spouses that are going through the things that they were going through was really a blessing. It became a lifeline for the community.
That's great to hear. Thank you, Cathy. And now, Mary. So what, if any, changes have you made to your business due to the pandemic?
Literally everything. You know, being in the travel industry, everything shut down. And we had to take a really hard look at, you know, okay, how are we going to go forward? You know, I believe Amber mentioned in her presentation, you know, when something like this happens after, say, just a year, you're not just going to shut it down and say, oh, well, that was fun. You know, you flex, you find other ways to do things. And so essentially we looked at two big ways in which, you know, we were going to deal with it. And, you know, we figured out pretty soon that the base of what we do, it was going to be hard to transfer it into something else. I know a lot of businesses were able to kind of shift and do a side project, you know, while the pandemic was affecting everything. But that just wasn't really going to make sense for the type of service that I provide to my clients. And so we had to take a step back, and we're like, all right, we just need to survive. What do we need to do? How much do we need to save right now? What do we need to either stop doing or put aside in order to survive 12 months, 18 months? We don't know how long this is going to last. And luckily, since we are 100% virtual and we don't have that many overhead costs, that was pretty easy to do. To just say, okay, everything's stopping, we're just going to survive at the moment. And then the second thing, which is the biggest project over the course of the last 18 months, it has been, how are we going to come out of this, right? Who are we going to be coming out of this? We were maintaining relationships with our clients. We were reassuring them the entire time of the situation. You know, this is a group of people, our clients are all people that love to travel. They love to get out to the world, and the prospect of not traveling was very, you know, kind of detrimental to a lot of people's mental health. And so it's just maintaining that connection with our community and with our clients, and keeping them engaged and sharing stories and pictures and inspiration and talking about what's going to be your first trip, and you know, kind of continuing to engage rather than just we're closing shop for the time being. We were able to really maintain that connection with our clients. And right now we're kind of at the cusp that travel is coming back, and we've been able to position ourselves as ready for the comeback and ready for the recovery, so that now we do have some people traveling again, you know, cautiously, but it's beginning to happen. And I think that was all because that we were able to maintain that engagement during those COVID months.
You both are stellar examples, you know, of it's what that book, Evolve or Die by Robin Crow, the 7 ways to rethink your ways to do business. I mean, you embody that. And it's true. I tell all of my students too, it's you have never is a business plan or a marketing plan or a way you're doing business ever set in stone. It's this constant evolutionary process. And the fact that you both have those skills to evolve and change to meet the new, you know, environment for your markets is just amazing. So awesome job to both of you for that. Okay, and we're going to stick with you, Mary, for our next question. So what is one thing you wish you had known before you started your business? Because there's only one thing, right? Like,
right. Yeah. You know, I feel like starting a business sometimes feels like you're going into the Wild West, and you're going up against all this competition, and you have to figure everything out on your own, and you don't know where to start, and the smallest obstacle can sometimes trip you up, or you think that you need to be completely ready to be able to move forward with your idea. And so I think that something I would have that probably would have helped me in the early stages was reaching out to more help networks such as this. And it was great that I eventually got involved with it. But knowing that these resources are out there, I think could have really helped me and other business owners kind of at this level, with the coaching services and the trainings and everything like that. I think would have been advantageous to answer questions such as taxes and just other things that you don't necessarily think, like setting up the LLC, things that aren't necessarily intuitive. So
That's great. Thank you, Mary. And now, Cathy, back to you. So what is one thing you wish you had known before you started your business?
Well, considering I started my G's Plus franchise 9 years ago and my Healthy Living Navigator coaching just about 3 years ago, I wish I would have known about my franchise business 20 years ago or 30 years ago when they started, because I would be so much further along in terms of understanding business, but it also projected me into the entrepreneurial world. And as Stephanie Brown had once said when I asked about, well, can I join the Rosie network because I'm a part of this business? I'm not really sure how that's going to translate. But she says, of course, I mean, those kinds of businesses are kind of the gateway to entrepreneurship. And it really opened my eyes to other opportunities. And I could be further along in my health coaching if I had stepped into that sooner and discovered my passion for health and wellness. And anyway, but timing, I feel like timing is always perfect, and we are exactly where we need to be when we need to be. So
that's great. Thank you for sharing, both of you. And Cathy, we'll stay with you for our last panel question. So what advice would you give to a business owner today?
Oh, I think diversifying our streams of income. This is something I've been having conversations with a lot of different entrepreneurs because it is so challenging. You don't always know when, whether you're doing a side gig or, whatever it is, or even if you're with a company, these companies can shut down. Your business can shut down. The government could change things around, and so having multiple streams of income, I think, would be one of my biggest pieces of advice. And then the second one would be invest in coaching. I have invested in coaching for the last 6-7 years for my mindset coach. I also have a health coach trainer that I work out with, and business coaches. And I've just recently started investing in the last couple years, and I wish I would have been doing that a long time ago. And I think entrepreneurs think, I don't have the money to do that right now, but when I make it, I can start investing. But you will, they can cut off years for you because of their experiences and help.
That's great advice. Thank you. And now to Mary, what piece of advice would you give to new business owners?
success is what you make it. I think that, when we start our businesses, we have these really lofty ideas of the success that we're going to be, and we're really excited about our project and about what we're doing. It's probably something that we love to do, and so we think that it's going to be this immediate success, and that might equal a lot of money, and equating that with the worth, that with your self-worth. And I think, again, in the light of the pandemic, we've all had to really reevaluate what success means in business. Success is not bottom line profit. Success is, I can't tell you what success is. You have to find what success is in yourself. And just going into that, knowing that, don't expect your profit line to be what success is for yourself. I mean, we just continue. We all got into this because, we wanted to do something that we're passionate about and make our own schedule. that I think just the opportunity to be able to sustain that, whether or not you're making money, is a success in itself. So finding the little places where you can find joy in your business.
I like that. Yep, everybody has different definitions of success. And I love too what Cathy said about, don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Have multiple baskets for different revenue streams. That's really smart too. Awesome. Thank you both so much for sharing your wisdom and experience with us today. And now we get to give out a couple of prizes. So without further ado, okay, Faith.
So winner number one of a 1.5 hour session with a personal branding coach, thanks to Beth Bossmeyer of Visual Print Solutions donation, is going to be Lawrence Googie. And I apologize if I am saying that incorrectly, Lawrence. But you are winner number one. And then of the Target $50 gift card is going to be Joy McLean. And for the Walmart $50 gift card, it's going to be Pete Kalina. And again, I apologize if I am not saying names correctly, but congratulations to Lawrence, Joy, and Pete. We will be in contact with you to send those gift cards.
Awesome. Thank you, Faith. So now we'd like to thank our sustaining partners, the SBA, the USDA, the BECU. Oh man, this is a military presentation, all these acronyms, right? Harborstone Credit Union, Verity Credit Union, Sound Credit Union, and Washington State Employees Credit Union. Business Impact Northwest, of course, appreciates all of your support. And now I'd like to set the stage for tomorrow's Vboc Coach of the Day, Chris Armstrong Goings. And let me get here to him. So he is married with a blended family that includes 5 children. He's got me beat by 1. I'm okay with that. He served his country honorably for more than 20 years in the U.S. Army. And while in the Army, he was stationed throughout the world and deployed in multiple hostile environments, including Bosnia, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Upon retiring from the Army, he worked as an international trainer with Northrop Grumman for 3 years. He is currently an adjunct assistant professor with one of the largest university systems in the U.S., working to enhance college students' understanding of decision-making, team management, and organizational behavior. Furthermore, he is an entrepreneur who successfully operates in the real estate world. He's a lifetime member. I know, Gus, that's what I thought too. Sorry, I have 3 fur babies barking at something right now. He's a lifetime member of the Disabled Americans Veteran. Chris is passionate about helping his fellow veterans become the best versions of themselves possible. Additionally, he is all about helping clients break through the obstacles and challenges to reach their desired levels of success. Life's too short to be unhappy, unsure, or unfulfilled. And it's his daily goal to be a better version of himself. And lastly, Chris has a doctorate of education with an emphasis in organizational leadership, and he looks very much forward to presenting tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you, Lexi. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Cathy. What great programming today. Appreciate all of you. I want to thank also our presenting sponsor, Union Bank, who helps make it possible for us to bring this great type of programming to you. So thank you, Union Bank. And then I want to thank you all for attending today's webcast on business portability and e-commerce. I hope to see you all tomorrow at tomorrow's presentation on government contracting, where, as you've heard already, Chris Armstrong Goings is going to be our Master of Ceremonies. And if you haven't done so already, visit businessimpactnw.org to see all the services we offer, get registered for coaching, and sign up for our newsletter. With that, have a great rest of your day, everybody, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.